All right, Run the North, Season 2, Preseason, Week 2 just concluded. I'm here with Jason, talking Bears and Vikings. Let's get into it. You want to start with Bears, or should I kick us off with the Vikings, Jason?
No, start off with the Vikings. I didn't get a chance to watch. I'm excited to see how that went, but I'm ready to rip with the Bears when you're done there.
Cool, yeah. Well, we'll start with the most notable thing from preseason week 2 Vikings, which is J.J. McCarthy did not play. That's probably what most people are excited about. It's probably why viewership, I imagine, dropped a bit in preseason week 2 is because there was no McCarthy. But good reason for that. Sounds like from all reports, he was just absolutely dicing up the New England Patriots in their, combined practice during the week, particularly Thursday. I guess I shouldn't say entire week. It was a little up and down, but Thursday he went like 7 for 7 in the red zone with like 5 touchdowns or something like that. So by all accounts, it sounds like KOC was pretty pleased with that performance. So he sat out. Speaking of quarterbacks, the Minnesota Vikings fan base has renewed its annual camp quarterback crush. I should probably trademark that because every year the Minnesota fan base gets fired up about this backup quarterback that's making a lot of noise in camp. They're like, oh man, is this the guy? Should this be the guy? This year, it's undrafted free agent rookie out of, you guessed it, the University of Minnesota, Max Brosmer. I think I'm saying that right, Brosmer. He's been having a good camp, and it doesn't help that Sam Howell, who we brought in from, I think the Seahawks. I think he was on the Seahawks. Then he came over from the Seahawks after starting for the Commanders for a couple years or a year or two. He has had a terrible camp. So this is just fueling the rumors. He had a dreadful interception in the preseason game on Saturday where he was pressured and basically chucked it up. Kind of looked like he was trying to throw it away and just didn't quite get it there. But not what you want to see out of your backup quarterback that has a year-plus starting experience in the NFL. So to contrast that, Max had some pretty nice layered anticipatory throws that looked real good against the 2s and the 3s, which, looking good against the 2s or the 3s is one thing, but actually doing it against NFL starting level competition is another. So, 100%. I've seen this before. We've had Kyle Sloter, and I can't even remember all these other backup QBs throughout the years that, again, the Vikings fan base just gets crushes on these guys because they show glimmers of something, but they're backups for a reason. They went undrafted.
Tyler Heineke?
Heineke. Heineke, went on to have some, I think he had like a playoff win for the Commies back when they were the Skins.
And then it was Tavares Jackson, and it was Joe.
Well, he
Webb.
was actually our starter. Tavares was an actual starter, but
well, that's true.
So, to round all that up, does Max Brosmer make the roster? I don't know. I'd give it like a 25% chance. He's on the roster week 1, and presumably our QB2, while Brett Ripon, I don't even know how to say his name, is our basically study quarterback, but no good in an actual game quarterback. I think Sam Howell will have to continue to piss down his leg for that to happen, and us for not to go get someone in free agency. We'll see. I'm not terribly worried about it. If J.J. McCarthy goes down, I don't think there's a ton of promise left this season anyway. So we'll see. I'll leave that in KOC's hands, but I'm not too worried about it. So there's the quarterbacks. Other things coming out of camp, wide receiver depth has suddenly become an issue. Jalen Naylor and Lucky Jackson had a case of the drops recently after Lucky Jackson had what sounded like a good camp. They're now dropping a lot of balls. Apparently, Jalen Naylor has an injury with his hand, and they're trying to evaluate if he needs surgery on it. So all of a sudden, you're missing Jordan Addison for the first 3 weeks. Naylor, your wide receiver 3, is apparently dealing with a hand issue. Lucky Jackson, your fourth string wide receiver, is now starting to drop the ball after being good all camp. And then you have Justin Jefferson, who's dealing with a hamstring injury. Oh man, we just lost Jason again. We're going to crop this out afterwards, although maybe I hear him. Did I just hear a click from Jason? Oh, okay. Your face just disappeared from
That's probably a good thing
our broadcast. No. The viewers love your face. You want to try giving me that link again?
It's a video, absolutely.
Oh, you just popped back up. So
There
let's
we go.
let's keep rocking and rolling.
We're talking about Lucky Jackson, wide receiver depth being an issue.
Yep. So a lot of people want us to go out and get a wide receiver in free agency. I think that's a possibility, depending on Jalen Naylor's availability. I think if he's available, you play him and just expect a couple of drops maybe over the first 3 weeks while Jordan Addison is out. Lucky Jackson, I'm not going to let a couple drops really sour me on him as like a depth wide receiver guy who's been practicing with the offense all off season. But I wouldn't.
What does that look like? Is that something where you guys are going to be like wanting to go get Amari Cooper, or are there like other names that are striking you or like popping up, whatever the news beat writers are talking about? Because a lot of the big names were signed. You're pretty darn deep into camp. Who would fit that role? Because I'm assuming you guys got to mind the cap as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So like for cap purposes, I feel like Amari Cooper's out. I feel like he's probably commanding the most cap at this point, even if it's not much on like a 1-year rental.
Gabe Davis, Nelson Aguilar, Allen Robinson, like those are names that come to my mind.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in any of those guys. The only one that I'd really be pleased about is Brandon Powell, who was like our depth receiver for a couple years under KOC. Knows the system. He'd be cheap. I don't know why he's not on a team right now. He was always pretty solid with us. Sure. He had a notable touchdown reception during the Josh Dobbs Pastronaut era. You guys had a chance to play Josh Dobbs this weekend too. We did. He threw many hospital balls, which reminded us why he's not on the team anymore, because he literally sent Justin Jefferson to the hospital with one of his throws. So. Sure. Best of luck to Josh Dobbs, but getting your wide receivers injured isn't a great way to, make your way in the NFL. Wide receiver. Even if we don't sign anyone, it's like the team has been built. I mean, around this like two tight end sets, like these heavy sets anyway, with Hawkinson now like a full year removed from his ACL tear. Mm-hmm. You just gave Josh Oliver an extension on the other side, who's a really capable receiving tight end. You should have Justin Jefferson back week 1. I think between those three and whoever ends up being the wide receiver 2, even if it is Lucky Jackson, I don't think that's the end of the world. I think the Vikings are going to lean on their defense and they're going to lean on their run game. I would, fantasy owners, maybe don't start JJ McCarthy until you get Jordan Addison back or until you see something out of week 1 or week 2. I'm not overly concerned. I didn't think this was going to be a pass-heavy team coming out of the gate anyway. Again, we've talked about this before. I feel like KOC is going to try and model the University of Michigan team that JJ McCarthy had success in, where it's just good defense and you're good at running the ball. You take some pressure off that quarterback and, rely on them to make those weighty throws on third downs when you really need them, but not relying on them to win the game for you, at least early on. So, now one thing I am wondering with these drops and Jalen Naylor getting his hand injured, I haven't heard talked about or this connection made, but, JJ McCarthy throws a pretty hard ball. He had like the second highest velocity throw at the combine. And what this is kind of reminding me of is like Brett Favre back in the day, where like he was breaking his receivers' hands and fingers because of how hard he was throwing the ball. Wow. I wonder if there's a little bit of that going on, especially with drops. You even see like Jordan Addison having a couple drops in camps from JJ McCarthy. Is it just like, is he throwing bullets that are harder to catch because they're going in there so hard? I don't know. I'm just trying to read the tea leaves here, but it's like guys are dropping it. Wide receivers are breaking their hands. Like, does JJ McCarthy just throw a really hard ball? So I don't know. That's something I'm keeping my eye on. Does that compromise his ability to layer and to throw touch too? Or is that just like Young having all the piss and vinegar and the juices of adrenaline and all that? I think it's the second part more than the first part. They have said like him and KOC have said like him layering throws and like putting a little more touch on throws has been mentioned, which is almost, I wonder if that's KOC nicely saying like, hey, yeah, he can throw the ball really hard, but we don't need to throw the ball really hard all the time. We don't need to break our receivers' hands. So who knows? Maybe the hand thing's completely unrelated. I don't know. Maybe Jordan Naylor or Jalen Naylor, just landed on his head or his hand wrong and broke it. Who knows? It's a bold take that maybe you'll get the people going on that one. Yeah. Maybe JJ McCarthy's got more of a rocket arm than people are giving him credit for. A stronger arm than Jordan Love, maybe. I think so. I mean, he can whip Watch the people in the comments go nuts for that one. Yeah. Okay. Wide receivers talked about. Defensive line. Yeah, defensive line looking great. You know, I texted this to you, but just kind of looking like an embarrassment of riches right now. I mean, especially with the upgrades we got in free agency and Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. You got Harrison Phillips, who's a really solid run stopper in the middle of the defense. And, of course, you got Grenard, Van Ginkel on the outside. Those are just your starters. You got Dallas Turner, who we traded up to go get in the first round last year. So high draft capital guy, you know, touted coming out of the draft as maybe the number one defensive prospect in the draft. And then you got, you know, these undrafted or really high, I should say, you know, like 7th round type players. Like Levi Drake Rodriguez was, I think, 7th rounder undrafted last year, seemed to really be coming along. He's a guy I've been really excited about just based on things you hear from camp. You got Gabriel Murphy, an undrafted guy this year who is just making splash play after splash play. He's getting brought in on, you know, pass rush downs where you need a little extra juice off the edge, but then he's making big plays in the run game on Saturday against the Patriots. There's been some, you know, potential controversy in the Vikings blogosphere that Gabriel Murphy might actually be creeping past Dallas Turner on the depth chart, which, you know, I don't think the Vikings would be one of these organizations, but it's one of those things where, like, do they have to keep him down just for optics?
Right.
You know, they kind of took a big swing on Dallas Turner. People have been holding their breath on him a little bit. He's made some
they mortgaged this year's draft for him and JJ too, because if you remember, they tried to replicate what the Houston Texans did by going CJ and Will Anderson back to back, 2 high first round picks, both rookie of the year at their position. It's a model that has more than just the stigma of a first round pick. It has all the 3rds and 4ths from that could have been this year too. So 100% on that point.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, the line just overall looking really solid. So, and you know, you look back at last year's Super Bowl, I think one of the things that made the Eagles such a great team, it was not only their top end talent on that defensive line, but how much depth they had too. So that's something that really excites me, where you not only have talent down the line, that, you know, it's great to have backups that are, you know, might be starting quality players in other rosters, but then also allows you to keep those big guys fresh throughout the game and throughout the year. So, you know, I think it's kind of like a compounding benefit in that regard. So really looking forward to getting them in live action week 1 here. You might not be as excited for that, but I'm very excited to see that. You know, Caleb's probably going to have to flash his escapability a little bit week 1, but should be a fun game.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a couple of them for you here. Or you want to keep rolling as far as questions for that game?
I got a couple more things here on the game. I'd also be remiss to not mention Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins. Speaking of defensive line, 5th round rookie, just dog walking Garrett Bradbury into Drake May in the game on Saturday. You know, just validates the fact that we, you know, presumably upgraded from Garrett Bradbury, just kind of what we're used to seeing, and not what you want, you know, for your essentially rookie quarterback, is have 350-pound linemen just getting walked into his face and just not feeling secure. You know, that's something that Kirk never really felt secure about. I think he was always a little worried about that interior pressure. So a little validating to see an undrafted 5th round rookie, or not undrafted, but a 5th round rookie doing that to Garrett Bradbury.
Yeah.
In other news, Brian Asamoah was released this week. One of the few remaining players from, I think, Kwesi's second draft. I think it was a second draft. I think his first year he came in. That class was pretty disastrous. Second year is now also looking like a pretty disastrous draft class. I think Jalen Naylor being the only one left on the roster from that draft class. But then you get a look at Kobe King, who we drafted this year. I want to say Penn State, but I don't think that's right. I forget where Kobe came from. But he just looks like a big fella on the field, a big thumper type player. Looked real good against most of the starters against the Patriots. So you kind of see why they released Brian. It's presumably because they have a lot of confidence in what they've seen from Kobe so far. Also seen some good depth from the cornerback position. Notably, I think Zemaiah Vaughn is his name. Making a name for himself. He was undrafted, I believe, this year, and seemed kind of looking like he's going to secure a roster spot as a depth cornerback, someone that could potentially fill in on the outside with injuries and stuff like that. So good to see, Flores and his team starting to develop some of that talent. And then, of course, couldn't forget Will the Thrill finding his groove 4 for 4, kicking those field goals on Saturday. So he struggled a little bit coming back from injury last year. Even in camp, it sounds like he was missing some kicks here and there. But nice to see him making those in a game setting.
So is he fantasy viable, you think, this year, Will Reichert?
I would say so, yeah. I'm going to draft him.
There you go. Well, we knew that. I mean, Homer City over here.
That's right.
All right. So did you remind the viewers, did you get a chance to watch the entire game or just the first half? How much did you get to watch?
Bits and pieces. I was out and about. I was listening to the radio for part of it, but, hit me with some questions. I'll do my best to answer.
Well, one of the things I'm seeing a lot in the blogosphere and what I'm coming up on social media feeds is the third quarter experience. They had KOC mic'd up all third quarter.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I know where you're going.
Obviously, there's the clip where they're calling a play and talking, and then it's cool to hear like the coaching up at the same time.
Yeah.
But there was a illegal formation where one of the guys is going in motion at the same time. One of the receivers reset. And he's, oh no, dang it! Like you could see, he was trying to hold back, but not so much. So, did you have any favorite clips from that you saw today in recap?
I mean, that was probably my favorite moment from the entire game. Him dropping the F-bomb on live TV, and then he immediately realizes what's just happened, and you can see it's like one side of his brain is just like the coaching part is going, and the other side is like, we might get in like trouble with the FTC for me just doing that.
Right, I'm in interview mode. Right.
It was just funny. Like you could tell his brain just like just grinded to a halt when that happened because
you got the devil on the shoulder and you got the angel on the other. Yeah.
But it is fun. It's like he can just tell immediately. Like when stuff like that happens. It happened last year in preseason when they did this simulcast with the coach, where he's just like able to relay information so seamlessly in real time. It's cool to watch him do that. But then just have that moment of like humanness where he's dropping that F-bomb. It's just like, yeah, he's one of us.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, I got another one for your game. Obviously, this hit the airwaves in the middle of last week. To say it's a polarizing topic is to say the least. It is fit for a market that is very open and accepting as ours. But tell me your thoughts and your friends and family's thoughts of the new Minnesota Vikings cheerleaders.
Man, if people wouldn't send this to me, I would like not even know this would happen. It's a thing because people are making it a thing. It's like, I don't know, man. It's a little too feminine for me. Like what happened? It's like, okay, I feel like people weren't upset about male cheerleaders. Like I think in college there's a lot more male cheerleaders, but they're also doing like manly things, like they're lifting up the women with one arm.
Yeah, they're the base. They're the Hulk. They're the
right.
Square bottom. Yeah. They're not the ones with the luscious hair flipping around and
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fairly predictable when you get a male cheerleader but have him prance around and like shake his body around like he's one of the girls. Predictably, the majority of the NFL fan base is gonna be. They're going to have a reaction to that. They're used to the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I don't care. I mean, I don't really care. I watched the game for the game and not the cheerleaders. So it's like, whatever. I wish people would stop sending it to me every time the Vikings release a video. I feel for the guys.
Their wife right behind the door. That was a very PC calculated answer there, Will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to get canceled this early into my podcasting career.
Amen to that.
But you feel for the kids' parents. The mom came out and said, "Oh, this is his dream. How could people do that?" And it's like, okay, like, did you not see this coming, Mom? Like, did you not see that everyone's not going to be as understanding as you? So it is what it is. I'm not going to let it ruin my experience. But you had to know this was coming. You had to see it coming.
And that's one of those things from a PR side. It's probably best that they leaked it during the week as opposed to fans finding out in the game.
Yeah. See, I just want to see like let's reverse this. Let's put like a fat overweight plumber on like America's Next Top Model or something. You know why? I
That
feel
would
like
go
that.
so viral. Everyone would get
Yeah.
behind that. Like they get her out behind like the Harlem Gold Choppers or like wrestling or something. It's like, oh, we both know this ain't gonna go well, so we're
Yeah.
behind them.
It's like I
Absolutely.
feel like you're just mixing two cultures that don't mix very well, and it's like, yeah, obviously the fans of the NFL are gonna react just as like if you put a redneck guy on America's Next Top Model, like, yeah, they're gonna be like, what the heck's this guy doing? Like, this doesn't fit in.
Right. Well, there you
I hope I
go.
don't get canceled for that.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about it too much because that's why I had you ask because the world doesn't want to hear my opinions. All right. So, any other Vikings thoughts? I noticed a couple of things on highlights from the Patriots side. Again, Vrabel was someone I wanted as a coaching candidate
Hmm.
for the Bears. I didn't watch much, but the highlights of it all, I really liked watching the 4 carries by Trevion Henderson, the rookie running back for the Patriots. He's
Hmm.
somebody I'll be looking at in fantasy too. He was drafted second round out of Ohio State, along with Quinshon Judkins, who went to the Browns. But it is drafted 38th overall, which is one pick before the Bears, who I was so excited to take that on. And he was gaining momentum pre-draft that the Bears would take him. We ended up with Luther Burden instead. But
Hmm.
Drake May played a little bit. You got to play against Josh Dobbs. Anybody that stood out to you? Obviously, again, JJ didn't start. Patriot starters. Any Patriot starters flash in your mind from what you did see?
I this is maybe a too easy of an answer, but I thought Drake May looked pretty good. I
Sure.
wasn't sold on him last year. I think the coaching staff last year wasn't doing him any favors. I think he's kind of shown that X factor a little bit that he was kind of sold on in the draft. Looks like he's got good command of the offense, so I thought he looked good. Like you said, Travion Henderson, one guy that's he's sure has jumped off the tape already early on in preseason. Obviously, he had that kick return for the touchdown, and
Last week, yep.
he's just got some juice to him.
Mm-hmm.
Something that maybe I was expecting to see out of Amari and Hampton, who hasn't necessarily had a bad preseason, but he's not really jumping off the tape like you're seeing Travion Henderson doing. So maybe a tame answer, but those are kind of the two guys. I didn't like hyper analyze the film or anything, but those two guys I thought looked solid. They kind of
Still
yeah.
preseason.
I'm interested. Do you have an opinion on what this Patriots wide receiver corps is going to look like? Because I read reports. I can't make heads or tails of who's going to be top dog in that receiver room.
I haven't done a ton of research into it. It's probably going to be Diggs just by default because I have no question that this is going to be a run first team.
Mm-hmm.
They have Ramondre Stevenson coming back, and they have high capital invested in their left tackle and in Travion Henderson we were just talking about. But nobody else is really proven. Williams is coming on the scene. Polk was underwhelming last year. Hunter Henry, I've always been a fan, especially back to his Charger days, but he's getting old. He's aging there. So it's going to be an unknown, but I do think that Drake May is going to be able to distribute the ball better. And we know from experience watching Josh McDaniels, their OC now, he likes the short choice routes underneath, which is very quarterback friendly.
Mm-hmm.
They will take whatever the defense gives them. So we should see at least a bump in Drake May's efficiency and ideally less 3-and-outs. I think they're going to be, run the ball, whatever it takes to get third and short, third and manageable. And that's just going to kind of raise everything up for the offense as a whole.
For sure.
But I don't think we're going to see a top 15 fantasy wide receiver out of this core at all. Mm-hmm. Especially as we get late in the year they might be in the playoff race, but as the weather because the last time we saw a top receiver like that was Randy Moss, and he had the touchdown record almost.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to see anything that notable, but I think I would take like a bench flex flyer on Diggs at best, but there's nobody I'm that excited about from the receiving core.
All right, let's talk Bears preseason game against the Bills. I missed most of it. However, when I did turn it on, it was like 21-0. Tell me about it.
All right, so 38 rip. Bears beat the Bills at home. Caveat being, I think literally only 2 starters on the whole team played for the Bills. But a lot of controversy in Chicago because the starters didn't play last week. Caleb had to come in looking confident, had to look under control, be able to distribute the ball. They're looking for that 70% completion goal. We really needed to see pre-snap alignment, function, no false starts, minimize any pre-snap penalties in organization. When you see that be reduced or eliminated. And so coming into that game, that's exactly what we saw. It was a, oh, fuck, here we go again moment. Opening kickoff, Bears receive our fringe wide receiver, Tyler Scott, muffs it, kind of bumbles it, takes a step into the end zone, looks at the ref, is like, no, that's not a touchback. So he had to return it, and he gets tackled at the 7-yard line. Like, that's so typical Bears. But in absolute non-Bears fashion, the Bears came out fired up, in control, and dominant. Caleb on that first opening drive, 5 of 6, 97 yards. They went 97 yards because of penalties, and a touchdown. In control, in command, decisive. The offensive line picked up the blitz really well, especially in the interior, which is exactly where we needed it and where we spent our assets, resources upgrading this year. Which brings me to the point that I'm going to skip back and forth to a little bit in this part of the show. My fellow mouth-breathing, red-blooded Bears fans, chill out on the left tackle thing. Yes, it's one of the most important positions of football. I understand that makes me a hypocrite by saying that, but chill out. Context. Remember what it was last year. We gave up 68 sacks last year. It was a league record, okay? Ben Johnson's offense scored 68 touchdowns, which is literally the same amount of touchdowns the Bears scored in the last 2 seasons combined. We spent, so you think about it, 5 offensive linemen. Right tackle was our best last year. Left tackle was probably our second best. The interior sucked ass, and we know it. You upgraded the 3 interiors. We have arguably the best guard in football, a top 5 center, and a top 15 guard. So now you take your second best lineman from last year, and now he's obviously your worst. So not many offensive lines have 5 studs. You have Detroit, Philly, Denver. That might be it. That you can actually say, like, that's Arizona?
Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. All right, maybe, but again, all new on paper. And the 2 guys that they brought in, the center and the guard, have injury history, right? So we'll see, but Minnesota could very well be in that picture come later this year. So now we're still here bitching about the guy that we said was the second best lineman last year. He's our 5th best this year. Last year we're talking about, we're gonna have to pay him $20 million. Da, 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 da. I understand it's annoying, and we're impatient that there's no left tackle, that we drafted a 2nd rounder. Well, he should be the guy by all politics and reason. Well, he's not yet, at least. He's too slow on the left. They're having practice with the 2s on the right. Then Theo Benedict, the Canadian Eagle from last year's Hard Knocks, he's rotating in with the 1s for that left tackle position. We're going to be fine. Now, that's just from a talent perspective. Now, think schematics and coaching. Ben Johnson is not Shane Waldron. Shane Waldron likes to run outs and all this other stuff. It did not work. He was fired after week 5 because he would not adapt to his players. You think Ben Johnson doesn't know that the left tackle is their biggest issue? The guy that loves to run the ball and play 2 tight ends, he's going to give help. He's going to give chips, check releases. He's going to have double teaming on those ends to give that left tackle support. He had Jared freaking Goff for come on, man. That guy can't move for nothing. He knows how to scheme that apart. So yes, we all want that to be solved. I get it. We're all falling for the mid-preseason clickbait. Chill out. I know we can't trust Ben because he hasn't done anything yet, but you have to trust the process and don't have an aneurysm before the season starts. Holy shit. And rant on the left tackle, back to the game. It was really
quick
nice.
Question, that first drive. So did you guys run it all on that first drive? Were there any runs?
I think we ran once or twice, and then there was a hold on Drew Dahlman, ironically enough. Our running backs, Swift didn't play, Roschon didn't play, Monangai didn't play because of a minor injury, should be fine. So it was I think Homer wasn't even in the backfield till late. He's a special teams guy. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember. It's a Haskins is his name. He's a rookie. I think he's a UDFA. And then Britton Brown that we signed from the Raiders earlier this offseason. Sure. I like the way that he runs. Britton Brown, 38. But yeah, it was 5 of 6. First play action, naked boot, flat route to Colson Loveland. He's able to turn it up for a 9-yard gain. After that, 30-yard seam route to Cole Kmet. That's the one thing I've been saying since before the Nagy era. You need to attack the middle of the field, and you need to throw the ball to your tight ends. That's how the best offenses do it. Look at Kansas City. Go back half a decade when they were in his prime. Aaron Rodgers. Not only didn't have great tight ends, maybe Jermarco Finley before he got super concussed, but slants, digs, things that were little seam routes, little pop passes. That's what's going to completely tighten up a defense. You think that play action slows down defense? No, if I can't get an extra step going east and west to cover, I have to stay there. You're really making them think and play half a step slow, which is a huge thing. So
you like the play calling is what you're saying.
I like the play calling. Guys were coming open with ease. They were designed open, and Caleb was out there, like I said, confident and decisive. He got the ball out. I think his snap to throw was like 2.1 seconds or 2.2 seconds.
Nice.
The fastest we've seen. It was nothing that we've ever seen as a Bears fan base, which was
confident passing
on time. And I think there was one drop and then one dirted screen pass. So that, which is also the right thing to do. So
yeah,
that was pretty cool to see. The Bears ended up with 371 yards on offense in the first half. We went most games last year without that for an entire game. I think we put up over 500 yards for the game, which again, mostly twos. Bears had 2 drives against the twos, and then they were done. Bears D had 1 drive, then they were done. Tyson Bagent, our backup quarterback, looked
great. Good. I tuned in for the second half. Tyson even looked good throwing the ball.
Yeah, and not to say similar skill set, but you could see that they were on the same processing, same get the ball out quick, throw the ball confidently. He was able to show some moves running. He had a 20-yard run called back on a iffy penalty there, but okay. Defense, not a whole lot stuck out. We had a ton of injuries. So Austin Booker, who we talked about last week, had the 3 sacks. He got banged up on special teams and didn't return.
Shoot.
I think it's a knee injury. We don't know how severe that is. Terrell Smith is our 3rd outside corner. He went down bad. He was a gopher. That's why I bring him up too. Ooh. He was in line to play. I think he can start in this league. But yeah, he got carted off and he had the towel over his face.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. No bueno. It was really cool to see one of the stars of Hard Knocks last year, Ian Wheeler, the running back, the speedster running back that tore his knee. He played well. He actually had 2 touchdowns last night as well. Kind of heartwarming. One thing that annoyed the hell out of me, not on the field, but I always love a Greg Olsen broadcast. But they had Kevin Warren, our president CEO, out in the second quarter, and it was just a glaze piece for the McCaskies, which you're supposed to do. I just hope it kind of tones down a little bit once the season gets started.
Sure.
But then they're also using that time to campaign for the unresolved stadium deal. You know, they're showing a mostly built stadium in Buffalo that's going on right now. And then it's like, well, we still think we've got a nice piece of property in Arlington Heights because for those who didn't catch last week's episode, they're having a major vote in October, which is a month and a half out. I believe that's down in Springfield. So that's the governor. That's the big deal. That's trying to get some funding and approval to actually get shovels in the ground. But if not, it's gonna, you're left with your hand, your Polish sausage. So that was just kind of annoying, especially because it took away from the game where you have valuable reps from the twos. You're missing replays. You saw a drop ball by Luther Burden, who also played stellar, not only catching the ball and running. I think it was 349. He had 2 down blocks at the goal line that resulted in touchdowns, albeit against the twos, but they were physical as a mother. And that's exactly the no block, no rock mentality.
I was just going to bring up that line. I forgot if I heard it on the broadcast or if I saw it on Twitter, but I love that. Yeah, no block, no rock. I saw maybe it was a little controversial that I think Greg Olsen said that one of your personnel guys said he thought Luther Burden would be better than Rome or DJ Moore. Did you catch this on the broadcast?
Not one of our personnel guys. The personnel guy, the personnel GM guy. Ryan Poles.
Yeah. Okay. So, it was Poles.
I heard Poles. I don't know.
Was it out of context? Was it,
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but out of context, that's kind of wild. But that's also what you do want to hear from the talent evaluator. That's why we took the high second round pick on it. Mm-hmm. And, we can see it. If he can get his head on straight, he could be dominant. But the way that he phrased it was really awkward to me because for those of you Bears fans who watched the preseason game last week where Rome was doing a sideline interview and Stacey Dales is like, so work with me on this one. If you and DJ had a baby, it would be Luther Burden. And then Rome was like, yo, what the fuck? He didn't say it on the camera, but you could see he's like, yeah, it's wild.
Yo, let's reword that question a little bit.
It was brutal. Like you get what she was going for, but she stuck.
Oh, she was going for a clickbait a little, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was something. Like she was trying to be cute because she doesn't usually do the games. She's usually the sideline reporter and she's the behind the scenes reporter.
Yeah.
She does great work otherwise. No shade there, but the whole world's talked about that point. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But and then Ryan Poles, they had Brandon Bean, the Bills GM, I think in the third quarter, and then Poles was in the fourth.
Mhm.
Didn't really learn much. Pretty much everything we're seeing as fans is what he said. Is like, oh yeah, cop out answers, and yeah, they're doing great, and just the kind of fluff you would expect. Nothing that was really
Sure.
notable there. I'm just trying to think of any other standouts. Rookies, nothing totally stood out to me. Luther Burden obviously being the obvious highlight. On defense, nothing special. I know they threw a shutout, but it was really just really good team defense. Austin Booker had a sack before he got hurt. Andrew Billings, number 97, definitely not a rookie, but he's our nose tackle run stopper. He just took two guys up the field, shed one, and got a nice sack, and he just comes off dancing.
Nice.
That was
You
just
love
a
the juice.
little boy, you know. It was get off me.
Yeah.
That was cool. You can hear him go as he's trying to like get through the guy just grunting. Love to see that. Love to hear that. I'm just trying to think what else we got here. I wanted to see him run the ball, but they really didn't. And I think that was just my wishful thinking is that the run game is doing well, especially with the interior. So they have to work on showcasing timing and getting those not on air reps, but air yards figured out there. So, but yeah, it was 28 rip and a half, 371 yards of offense. Loved that. I don't expect that we will see many of the starters play next week against Kansas City for a final preseason game.
Think they earned those, earned that rest?
I don't know if they've earned anything, to be honest. All I think is let's put it this way. They went out and for the first time in a very long time did what you're supposed to do. Again, people are going to be saying, well, the ones played against the twos, you're supposed to do this. Like, right, 100%, exactly. Like, you don't know exactly what's going to look like against the ones.
And it's good they looked like ones against twos. Like,
oh, hell yeah. And it's been so long since the Bears, like, had something to do. Like, they need to prove X. And then they went out and just did it, like, convincingly. And it's so refreshing to have had that happen because every other time there's an excuse. And like the McCaskies and the Bears front office for the longest time have been like the moral victory champions and like the silver lining. It's like that never leads to wins. You never improve. There's no development. There's really no hope. You're just trying to spray false seed to like get people off your back. It was interesting because I don't know if you caught the end of the broadcast, but Greg Olson was talking about just the demeanor and the change of coaching style. It's like, are they really about to go for 40 in a preseason game? Are they really about to put up 40 points and to do this when they're 38 points and 2 minutes left? And I was like, you know what? He better fucking do it. Hell yeah. They ended up kneeling it out with, at like the 5-yard line or so. Yeah. But it's like that cutthroat. Like Ben Johnson came in saying, we're here to dominate people. We're not here just to win. We're here to beat the shit out of you. So that was really to see it again, preseason, not to get excited. It means nothing. We've had teams go 0-4 and win the Super Bowl. We've had teams go 4-0 and go 0-4. Like it really means nothing. It's just a glorified dress rehearsal. And it's a glorified interview for these guys that are getting jobs because in 2 weeks, you're going to go from 90 to 53. So almost half the league is out of a job. Let's not forget that. So let's not overweigh the consequences of these games, but it's cool to see. And that's pretty much my basic thoughts for this game.
I'll play devil's advocate right here because your point, it's been a long time since you've seen the Bears win a game like that. Yes. I think perhaps the last time they won a game like that is when they played the Bills last preseason and won 33-6.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the same way Vikings fall in love with the backup QB every season. Every season, the Bears just get crowned off-season champs. Not that we're saying they're off-season champs, but I did see that point made, I think, on Twitter. So I didn't have this wasn't an original thought, but they're like, just remember, we beat the Bills 33-6 last preseason. So, it is just preseason. Hopefully, that being said, I wasn't a believer last preseason. This year, I'm a lot more scared of them than I was last year. So, you certainly should not feel bad about the performance out there. But I just thought that was some funny symmetry going on, and hopefully, it plays out better for you this year. And I will say, one of the things that was said during the broadcast that I thought was good was. It's like the Bears could get better as a team. They can look better. They could be better and have the same record or even have a worse record just based on their schedule, how brutal the NFC North projects to be this year.
Worse than 5 wins, you think?
I don't know. I'd have to look at their schedule, but I think it was a fair point where like it might take the team some time to gel or maybe they're only 1 or 2 wins better. and like, let this offensive strategy sit with the coaches and the players. So like they could get a lot better without really seeing their record improve much, maybe is the point to be made there. But that being
I'm
said,
comfortable with that thought in the sense, like, I'm only expecting 7, 8, 9 wins at the most. Like really 7 or 8 is probably, I think the over under might be 7.5, what the betting line is. You should be in the conversation around Christmas for a playoff push, not a playoff spot, but like you should be somewhat relevant. But what I really want to figure out, and the thing that I do expect, and this is more of a coaching thing than the actual performance of the team.
mm-hmm.
It's been a decade since we've had a positive identity. I think Ben Johnson will come in here. Our bye week is early. We have a bye week 5. I think you guys have bye week 6. Coming out of that bye, we should know exactly what we have as a team.
Yeah.
Not just the simple like schemes of, are we a power run team, a zone team, a gap team? Just, are they 3 yards in a cloud of dust? Are they explosive? Are they reliable, consistent, clutch? Whatever that identity is, I obviously just named all positive things because that's what I'm looking for. We have had either no identity, which is a negative, or a negative identity where every third down attempt is like, well, we know we're not going to get this. Might as well just warm up the kicker, punter. So that's really what I'm expecting, in line with that. It may not show immediately because, again, 5 wins is pretty bad. I think it's a 500 league, give or take a couple of breaks for a lot of these teams because there's a ton of talent.
Mm-hmm.
But we should at least have not a tweaked expectation, but it should be clear who this team is or is going to be. You should be able to see the vision coming to fruition, not just the hype and hope, I guess to say.
Yeah, love it. We're getting a little short on time here. Sure. I see you have some. I just took a peek at our document, and it looks like you have some fun topics coming up next. Why don't you just hit me with them?
Okay, so we all saw this. This came to my mind. It was percolating while we were watching the game, and you're seeing some Josh Allen interviews on the sideline. He just got married this offseason to Haley Steinfeld, the proclaimed actress. And what I thought was interesting, on one of our social media feeds, I got a reel where she's having an interview, and I just like, something else big happened this year. And I kind of put a relationship between the playoff game. It was Bills, Kansas City, and there's Taylor Swift dropping her new album out on New Heights, her boyfriend's podcast this week. Went viral. And I'm thinking to myself, man, are we done with this chick yet? Like, I'm so over it. And I would totally have Haley Steinfeld over Taylor Swift, and here's why. On the interview that Haley was having, and she had a bunch of flashcards just going back and forth one-on-one with the camera, and the question was, Josh Allen plays for the Buffalo Bills. Who else is in the Bills division? And she goes, the Buffalo Bills and their 3 sons, and drop the mic. And I'm like, let's go.
Okay.
And the way that she answered it, though, you saw she thought about it. Like, I'm confident to say she knew the answer, that it was going to be Jets, Pats, and I'm even blanking on Dolphins. And it's like, yeah, that was badass. That was cool. I know she's an actress. I know she can deliver a line, but that was dope. So I'm taking Haley Steinfeld over Taylor Swift every day of the week. I don't care what the Swifties say. Get at me, blow up the comments, and get mad. I don't care. I will fight you off every single day. We even have a tiff in my own house where my wife is not pleased. You should post something about this. You bet your ass I will.
Nice. Yeah, I bet she's just going to love that. Honestly, maybe also hot take. I don't think I'm taking either of them. Dating a Hollywood actress sounds like a great way to get your heart broken, and honestly, I'm just not a fan of Taylor Swift's music. Like, I don't think it would work out. I don't think she's my type.
She had a couple songs at like 2010 when we were freshmen in college. Like, yeah, maybe. But no, I got to clarify though. Not as dating them, but just kind of like the the first lady of the program,
of the NFL.
Because now she's like the head of the the ladies of the Chiefs, and now it's like, okay, well, the quarterback's wife now. That's kind of the ringleader for the ladies.
Honestly, I don't know anything about Haley Steinfeld. Like, I think she was in the Sinners movie, which I didn't see.
I don't think I've seen.
I don't know I don't know where she came from. I am certainly a little over the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce NFL thing.
Totally.
Yeah, don't think that needs to be part of my viewing experience. So for that reason, maybe I would lean into Team Haley Steinfeld.
Amen to that. The other thing I noticed too, which was kind of odd, is it just me, or did they just start doing primetime games in the preseason again? Like Sunday night, there's one coming up in a couple hours. I think the Commanders are playing somebody, maybe Arizona, but like,
oh really?
Wasn't it always just Saturdays? For the longest time.
I do not remember. You
I
tell
asked
me.
ChatGPT before we hopped on, and they said they've been doing it since the 70s. But man, I everything that I watched was like a 10 a.m. on Saturday the last couple of years. This just kind of blew my mind. As I'm literally scrambling from my my 4-year-old nephew's birthday party last night. I know you got another one to get to tonight.
Mhm.
Is wait, what are we doing? It's Sunday night. Been waiting all day for Sunday night for sure. But
In the
what are we doing,
preseason?
guys? I guess it's just the NFL's, trying to get their claws and everything, take over the entire TV viewing schedule, and they're doing a good job of it. So, yeah, I guess since the 70s is the answer. But didn't that strike you a little funny?
Yeah, it is a bit odd for a preseason game. But, people are hungrier than ever for NFL content, so you can't blame them.
Right?
I mean, no, I don't know what I put on TV tonight outside of a preseason game. Like, it's probably the best thing in my mind.
There you go. I've been leaning heavy into comedy specials just because it's an hour, right? Like I don't have to commit 2.5 hours to something long, epic thing. It's 45 to 58 minutes, and it's great. Go to bed with a smile, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last one, you may or may not have seen this in the highlights, but I was kind of thinking about it. Bears game specifically, did you see Caleb Williams' socks?
I had to Google this one. Well, describe the socks.
Well, so you're required by dress code to wear your socks, the team type of socks, so you can't wear custom ones and all that type of thing. It's the same line of like your cleats. Last year, he looked like he had tights and he wore the socks as well. But this year, maybe it's preseason only, he had the socks on, but he had them all the way down to his ankle socks. And you look back to his college days, he wore ankle socks in college. I mean, that's his thing. Fine. Like, as long as we're talking about that and not his nails, like enough is enough. But it was an odd look, not because it's him or it's weird. It's just, I'm not used to seeing it. And when the guys do have their socks down, they usually have the compression tights too.
Uh-huh.
Do you think the league's gonna let him fly with that for the season?
Who knows? The way I'm seeing it, it's like one of those things where Caleb, he's kind of falling in that Gen Z vein of athlete like Shadur Sanders that, they want to be different. They want the attention. Like when I Googled it, I see a picture of him surrounded by linemen. Everyone's got their socks all rolled up. And then there's Caleb with his socks rolled down. So I think really how this will work is it depends. If he's great, then all the football players are going to start wearing their socks like Caleb. If it doesn't work out, all the old heads are going to be like, just another Gen Z washout. He cares more about style than playing the game right. Those are the two directions this can go in. Whether or not the league penalizes him for it, I don't know. But, not shocking that Caleb Williams is, trying to just stand out with his style on the field.
Yeah, it's all the branding and, fine for socks, really. And then I'll switch up on this. I got 2 quick ones left. Make sure that you guys are all ready for Thursday nights. We're trying to do Wednesdays, but mostly Thursday nights during Thursday Night Football for our Madden stuff. I'm going to be posting some clips of my very, very rusty debut in the last 5 years. Got a fantasy football question for you before we go.
Let's do it.
If you listen to previous episodes, I've got a couple of different variety of leagues. So does Will. My question is for my Dynasty Contract League. First time doing it. It's going to be an auction draft, $200. 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex spots, but 8 bench spots for the start of the year. Next year, we'll get 4 taxi spots and 4 IRs as well. My question is around this. What am I supposed to plan for money-wise? And I'm seeing a variety. The platform that we're using doesn't have a mock option. But when I put in the settings for 12-man, full point PPR, $200, Dynasty auction, I get so many different variables. Like I see mocks where Bijan is going for $100. That's almost half your money there. Somewhere he's going for 65. And then the platform that we use has him projected for 43. Now, granted, it's a 12-man league. I only know half the league. We've merged leagues and I only know 6 of the 12. Mm-hmm. So I'm anticipating a shit show, but are there guys, 1, how do I allot the money you think? But then 2, are there guys that you think are worth spending a third? That would be what, $65 to $100 on for one guy in a full point PPR if it's a dynasty league, knowing I have a chance to keep this guy for up to 4 seasons plus a franchise tag.
Yeah, I mean, it might be too rich for my blood, but I could see a guy like Jamar Chase who's young, and he's got the most. There's a reason he's going 1 overall. He's young, he's talented, he's got a quarterback he's been playing with since college who loves throwing it to him. I could see, yeah, you see someone going up to like a third of their budget. Now you said $100 in a $200 league.
Yeah, it's
It
crazy.
seems like a little bit rich. And I think you got to balance that with, well, do you feel really strongly about people going lower in the draft that you could get for cheaper? Guys like, I don't know, Jordan Mason, who's going, late in drafts that I feel like could have, even if Aaron Jones isn't injured, he could be a starter week to week. And then if Aaron Jones does get injured, all of a sudden you got like a top 10, top 7 type running back. Or if there's, there's wide receivers like, who's the fella on the Raiders? Jacoby Myers, who's like, yeah, he's going late, and he's the starter. He's the wide receiver 1 on that team. I mean, maybe Brock Bowers is, but
right.
And if you think you can fill your roster with cheaper guys like that, and then maybe cash in on Jamar Chase having a wide receiver 1 season, and you get to keep him, but in my mind, I'd diversify a little bit more. That would be against the principles I think I would use to draft, which would be, pick some guys that you like, bid up on them. But yeah, I mean, just the principle of doing half or 1/3 on one guy, it really hamstrings you for the rest of the draft. So then, you're getting down to those later rounds, round 9, 10, 11, where guys that you thought you'd have to pay more for all of a sudden going cheap, and you're just out of money at that point. You can't get all the guys you want. So for that reason, I probably wouldn't go that high, but I could see the rationale behind it. Probably not really for me, though.
Fair enough. And that's something where my general rule of thumb is my 3 best guys. So obviously it's auction league, but like my first 3 picks should cost me, I should be willing to spend about $120. So that's just over half. And to see one of these guys be 1 or for 100 for almost half, like even 60. Yeah, 60 is reasonable if you're going to get 1. That means you get a 60, a 40, and then maybe a 30 or 20, right? Okay. But yeah, and that's along the lines of your diversification. As we get into the next episodes here, I've got my draft. One of my drafts, my slow draft, is starting Friday. I got one Monday and Wednesday next week, so it's going to come hot and heavy. We'll have to talk a little bit more about strategy. One's a snake, one's a guillotine, which is also a snake, and then we got this dynasty contracts for auction league. What is the meta going to be? We have to talk about this in the chat comments here. What's the meta going to be? Is it going to be wide receiver, wide receiver? Is it going to be running back, running back? Is it going to be diverse? And then do you want an early, mid, or late pick there? That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out this weekend as I go into more of my research, because I like a lot of guys, but I don't love spending that amount on the top tier guys right now. So we'll have to see how that, what the numbers show me.
Yeah. I mean, my 2 cents, first of all, I don't like the whole like thinking about it as like, you got to go wide receiver, or running back, or wide. It's like, it depends. Every draft is different. I mean, I like going wide, either receiver, or receiver, running back. I mean, I think as long as you're leaving the first 3 rounds with, my favorite drafts are when I get exit round 5 with 2 stud wides, 2 stud running backs, and either my QB or my tight end. Sure. If I've done that, and usually that means in round 3 you got 1 wide, 1 receiver, maybe a high end tight end, or one of the other 2, because the drafts that I end up not liking the most is when I accidentally go like wide receiver, or if I usually I avoid doing running back, right out of the gate, because usually I think the wide receiver talent kind of falls off in those mid rounds. So I try to stay balanced, but for sure wide receiver, running back in those first 2 rounds. Then whatever's left at the top of the board, in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I'm the more we're talking, I think I'm getting sold on the diversification again this year, especially with the unknowns. Like I said, I don't know who these other guys are in this league and exactly who their guys are, where they're going to spend their money, or if someone's just going to be a nut bidding everybody up. So that'll be one we'll keep track of, and we'll keep our viewers posted too with some of the results on the social media. With probably go week to week on some of these. And then the one thing we haven't talked about is the weekly DFS. Like which matchups do we like the most? I got a DFS league to do too, but it's only a $10 league, so it's not crazy. Yeah. And best ball, but that'll be something we'll talk about. What is it? Labor Day weekend? We have the one after, because it's the first game's not till the 7th. We'll have plenty of time to do that in the off week.
Cool. Sounds like a plan to me.
Cool. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode of Run the North. Be sure to like and subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, leave a review, but mostly get in the comments of this and also our socials, because I like going after it. And if someone can trump me, stump me, I will take it, because I just love talking ball and I like the challenge of it all. So let's get after it. We'll have his 2 cents in there too. And we'll bring some of those best comments.
On social.
Hell yeah, get me fired up, and we'll bring some of those best comments onto the show too, because I think there's gonna be some pretty good ones. Rigorous debate. I got a video about Jaden Daniels coming out later this week too.
Cool.
Can't wait to see what that sparks. Anyway, I'm Jason. This has been Will, Run the North. Preseason week 2 has come to a close. See you next week.